My name is Noah, and this is my Wwise technical reel using Unity 3D Game Kit. Today, we'll be diving into a few of the sounds and systems I've created for this project. Let's take a quick listen to some gameplay, and then we'll get started. I began by profiling the game in Wwise, and then importing capture log data into a spreadsheet so that I could create an asset list. I then studied event behavior so that I could start reimagining the 3D Game Kit's soundscape. Sound design was done using a combination of recorded material, synthesis, and sound libraries. Let's take a look at some details, starting with our player character, Ellen. For Ellen's footsteps, I recorded the majority of them in a DIY Foley pit in a closet. The only exception to this is the puddle footsteps group, which layers in library Foley on top of my recorded material. Every footstep event is also layered with a random container to represent Ellen's prosthetic arm and clothing. For Ellen's emotes, I enlisted the help of my friend Sydney for her various vocalizations.
How does this work?
And now, let's move on to talk about some weapon sounds. For the staff, I used 3 distinct layers triggered by a combination of nested switch and random containers, with unique variations for each attack and her 4-hit combo. These 3 layers are the heavy swing, an energy layer, and a high shimmer. In Wwise, an RTPC controls a number of parameters in the staff swing container group. To add player feedback, there are also separate energy impact layers that are triggered when Ellen hits something. Now let's talk about the chomper. Throughout the level, Ellen fights dozens of these little guys. For their sound, I was primarily inspired by my very mean little dog, Ollie. The bulk of the chomper sound set consists of loads of vocalizations, so for these, I primarily used my own voice, interspersed with some dog growls and wet Foley layers. Let's take a listen. Now, let's pivot to the main event, the boss fight against the golem. This mechanical monster is the final enemy that stands between you and the end of the level. There were a few things I wanted to emphasize in its sound set: heavy metallic sounds, electricity, and high-tech synthetic elements to help place it in this alien world. One of the golem's main Wwise events is a looped engine sound. In order to add a lot of interest to this sound, I used a number of techniques in Wwise using RTPCs. One of these is the Grenadier Health RTPC, which does this to the engine sound. It also does this to the golem's vocalizations. The Grenadier Health RTPC itself is controlled by the golem's damage event, which introduces a relative change to the parameter each time it is triggered. As a redundancy, the golem's death event forces this value to 0. All of these variations work together to add a lot of intensity to the fight, as well as help indicate to the player how close they are to defeating the boss. Lastly, let's take a peek at the ambient systems. Environmental sounds in 3D Game Kit primarily use a single event system consisting of several different containers in Wwise. I used a combination of stereo loops as well as random containers that use 3D positioning to add variation to the environment. Now, let's take a step back and listen. There's so much more we could go into, but I think it's best we stop here. This has been Noah Campadonico demonstrating Wwise implementation in Unity 3D Game Kit. Thanks for watching.